So here we start with task 2. We're going to be listening to poems that rhyme. And poems that rhyme, especially children's poems, is one of my favorite. I absolutely love them when they're funny and they're silly and they don't make sense, even so much the better. So we'll start with introducing the vowel digraph EE and EA. I'll be introducing the both of them together. We'll be looking at rhyming words in poems, and then you'll be doing a rhyming activity as part of task 2 today. Let's move along. So here we go. First of all, our vowel digraph double E and EA. As you know, with two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking once again. So the story of double E and EA. So here we go. E and E are married. They both love to eat sweets. The first E is so loud when he eats that the other E does not get a chance to speak. So the only sound you hear is E saying his name while eating. That's really funny. And then EA is another couple. E and A are married as well. E is the bossy wife who is always talking and never gives her husband a chance to speak. Poor Mr. A, just keep quiet and let Mrs. E say the long E sound all day long. Right, guys, here I have a story for you. Okay, you have the story on the worksheets as well, and what you could do is you can highlight all the words that has a double E in them, and then with a different color you can highlight all the words that's got an EA in them. I'm going to read the story to you once, and then you're going to use this one for your task. A chief went to steal the queen's green beads. As she went up the honey tree, a buzzy bee stung her. Ouch! That feels funny. And she screeched like a monkey, meaning she screamed, right? Pete the sheep is at a big meal called a feast. He eats some peas and green beans. Then a beast sneaks up and steals a peach and says, I want some meat. Please don't eat us, shrieked the sheep. Pete woke up with a scream and said, Silly me, I was asleep and it was just a dream. That makes me happy. Okay, so they just ask you how many did you find, how many double E words, how many double EA words, and as you can see, all the words sounded the same with the E, long E sound, but were they spelled the same? No way. Okay, year fours, we're going to listen to poems with rhyming words. I'm continuing with the theme that we have in our textbook, which is poems about trees. I have, however, found the tree poems in the book not very exciting or interesting, so I've been looking for poems on the internet that you might like. We're going to specifically focus on the rhythm and the rhyming words in each of these poems. So here we go. Tall Trees by Eileen Matthias. With their feet in the earth and their heads in the sky, the tall trees watch the clouds go by. When the dusk sends quickly the birds to rest, the tall trees shelter them safe in a nest. And then in the night, with the tall trees peeping, the moon shines down on a world that's sleeping. Okay, I really like this one. So quickly, let's have a look at the rhyming words. Now, as you must have learned in grade 2 and in grade 3, rhyming words are the words at the end of each sentence. So let's have a look at the first 3 lines. Earth, sky, and by. So our 2 rhyming words there is sky and by. Let's look at the next 4 lines. Quickly, rest, them, nest. So what are the rhyming words over there? Yes, it's nest and rest. Then the last 4 lines, we have night, peeping, down, sleeping. Yes, peeping and sleeping. Let's move along. I had a little nut tree. Now this poem is just a silly kind of poem. It kind of doesn't make complete sense, but it's just fun to read. I had a little nut tree, and nothing would it bear, but a silver nutmeg and a golden pear. The King of Spain's daughter came to visit me, and all for the sake of my little nut tree. I danced over the water, I danced over the sea, but all the birds of the air couldn't catch me. I had a little nut tree, and nothing would it bear, but a silver nutmeg and a golden pear. So you see what I mean? It's kind of a poem that's not really making complete sense. It's just kind of fun. Final one, my oak tree. The oak tree just outside my door has its lovely leaves no more, and now I wonder, what's it for? Not shade, nor home for birds to sing. When leaves return, I'll welcome spring. Quickly have a look at my oak tree's rhyming pattern. So we look at the last words, and it says door, more, for, sing, and spring. So the first 3 words rhyme with each other, and the last 2 words rhyme with each other. This is going to be a little introduction to the Limerick poems that I'm going to teach you about. Okay, let's have a look at the rhyming words in I Had a Little Nut Tree. At the end, we see bear, pear, me, tree, see, me, bear, and pear. So, do you think having rhyming words at the end of each sentence makes the poem have a specific rhythm? Rhythm is, of course, like the beat in music. Rhyming words give a beat to a poem. Okay, so I kind of answered the question right there, right? Okay, so name the rhyming words in my tree, there where you are sitting at home. And then I want you to quickly have a look at this rhyming pattern. When you get older, in year 5 and 6, you'll be doing rhyming patterns, which is connected to the alphabet. But I have now used little pictures to show you. You will see bear and pear rhyme with each other, and I made the little diamonds over there. So those 2 are the same. And then me and tree rhyme with each other, but they don't rhyme with bear and pear. So I gave them 2 little stars. Then, in the second part of the poem, see and me rhyme with each other, and they also rhyme with the me and tree in the first stanza. So again, there are 2 stars, and the last 2 lines, bear and pear, again rhyme with the first 2 lines. So we have the little diamonds there again. So interesting rhyming pattern. 2 diamonds, 2 stars, and then again 2 stars and 2 diamonds. Okay, now I'm going to show you another type of rhyming poem, and it's called a limerick. Very fun kind of poem. It's a silly poem that has 5 lines, and it's often funny or nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense. So limericks were made famous by Edward Lear. He was a famous author who wrote the Book of Nonsense in the 1800s, and the whole book was full of silly limericks. And limericks is actually something that you kids would super enjoy. I'm going to show you one. A black widow spider named Kim was always so proper and prim, but her new husband Bob was too much of a slob, so she made a mule out of him. Can you see how fun they are? Okay, let me read you another one. There was an old man in a tree who was horribly bored by a bee. When they said, "Does it buzz?" he replied, "Yes, it does. It's a regular brute of a bee." So a limerick has a certain rhyming pattern, and usually The last line is the funny one, that like the punch of the poem. So let's continue listening to some fun Limerick poems. Why am I saying they're so fun? It's because they are short, they are rhyming, they are funny, and they have a bouncy rhythm that makes it easy to learn if you ever had to memorize these poems. Here comes a funny one. There was an old man from Peru who dreamed he was eating his shoe. He woke in the night with a terrible fright and found out that it was quite true. Ew, imagine that, eating your shoe. Let's have a look at the rhyming words in this Limerick poem. So you see there at the end of line 1 is Peru, the next one is shoe, then night, fright, and true. So here you can clearly see that the rhyming words at the end of line 1 and 2 and line 5 are rhyming with each other. And then the two words in line 3 and 4 rhyme with each other. So 1, 2, and 5 are the same rhyming words, and then line 3 and 4 are different ones, but they rhyme with each other. Let's have a look at some other limericks and see if the rhyming pattern stays the same. I went to the staff room one day for a nice cup of tea during play, but a troll had got in and was making a din, even though he had nothing to say. Okay, guys, the word din means he was making a terrible noise. So it means he wasn't saying anything, he was just making a noise. Okay, let's have a look at the rhyming words over here. So we have at the end of the lines, day, play, in, din, and say. So line 1, 2, and 5 have the same rhyming words, day, play, say. And then line 3 and 4 has rhyming words that is different, but they rhyme with each other, in and din. Okay, and then let's look at our last poem. Think you're gonna love this one. There was a young man from Dealing who caught the bus for Ealing. It said on the door, don't spit on the floor. So he jumped up and spat on the ceiling. That's funny, right? Just quickly, some background information. I used to live in London many years ago. So these places they are speaking about, Dealing and Ealing. Ealing is a real place. I'm not sure if Dealing is, maybe it is, but it could just be made up to rhyme with Ealing. And it's really true that people do spit a lot in England. They spit on the sidewalks and everywhere. So the fact that there was a sign up about that could be quite true. Don't necessarily know if it is. Okay, so let's have a look once again at the rhyming words in this poem. So we have dealing, ealing, door, floor, and ceiling. Again, lines 1, 2, and 5 rhyme with each other, and then lines 3 and 4 rhyme with each other. So this is Limerick poems for you, and this is the poem that I would like, kind of poem I would like you guys to write. Let's talk about the work you have to do today. You'll be completing task 2, which will be the vowel digraph sheet, where you will be reading the double E and EA story again by yourself. And as I said before, you could highlight the words. So all the words with the double E, you highlight in one color. All the words with the EA, you highlight in a different color. And then you're going to sort them into the bodies. You'll see on your worksheets on page 5 and 6 that there is, looks nearly like a ladder. That's the body of your little people that you're going to create. You write all the E words in one and all the EA words in the other one, and then you glue the heads and the feet on the bodies. You'll see there's a little picture on the worksheet of what you should be doing. Then I would like you to please complete the rhyming words worksheet on page 8, and of course read page 44 in your English reader.